There is renewed debate over the country's gender pay gap following a controversial Super Bowl ad by Audi. The commercial for the car maker promoted equal pay, but critics quickly pointed out that the car maker doesn't, in fact, necessarily practice what it preached here. No women sit on Audi's management board, and the company only has 2 women on its executive team. Well, Glamour magazine takes a look at pay equity in its latest issue on newsstands today. It conducted a salary survey comparing 6 men with 6 women who held similar jobs at similar companies. Now, Glamour asked them to just write down their salaries and then reveal them on camera.
3, 2, 1. That's actually about what I expected.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I expected that to be much higher.
Wow. I warned you.
I know.
I mean, you are a couple years older than me.
That's true, yeah.
But I know that in a couple years I will not be making that amount.
Are you going to approach your future job searches differently after this?
What I really want more than anything is to believe that what I'm asking for is what I deserve. Because I feel like even when I negotiate in the past, or do you think maybe, I know that, but do you think? It's yeah. I don't want to be like that.
Right.
I want to say this is what I want.
Totally.
How does this change your perspective on that?
Okay, that was one of the pairs revealing to one another their salaries. The result here overall, the study found that all but in one case, the men made more than the women. Glamour magazine's digital news and politics editor Meredith is here to discuss the really depressing results of an admittedly unscientific survey. So let's just say that right there, but it certainly does speak to verifiable issues.
Absolutely. I mean, in this case, they work in similar industries, in similar regions, but there's no evidence to suggest that that's necessarily something that plays out in these companies. However, these results were so stark. I mean, a young woman that's 3 years younger than her male counterpart is making $21,000 less than him. 3 years should give you something of an edge, but that's $21,000 seems a little extreme.
And I mentioned the commercial by Audi, and when it aired during the Super Bowl, I have 2 young daughters, and that it really does hit home. You want to be able to tell your children, male or female, that they can be whatever they want, and frankly, achieve to a level of any distinct possibility, and these numbers suggest that's just not the case.
Absolutely, and I think it also lays out that we need to be looking very deeply into how we have these conversations in a more comfortable setting. Everyone in the videos did say they felt like they needed to be talking to their friends and their family members about this, because that's what's going to change it, not a television ad and not trying to encourage your daughters to do more work. We have to completely change the way that we look at the disparities that exist in the workforce.
Now, there was one instance where the woman actually made more than the man. That reveal was between 2 sales executives with similar levels of experience. Here's just a part of the interview they did together.
Did you negotiate your pay?
I did.
Okay.
I actually worked with a negotiation coach that works very closely with women. She definitely helped me a lot. Negotiation is a skill. Women aren't as comfortable bragging about themselves, putting themselves on a pedestal, or even being aggressive in general. And it's kind of something you need to do if you want to get what you want.
And so they gave you a number and you said no?
That's correct.
That's cool.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Boom.
Boom.
Curveball.
What should we say? I know, curveball on us.
Okay, so I can't help but think, first of all, seeing that, hey, buddy, that's how it feels. That's what it's like on the other side of this issue. I know there's a lot to unpack from what this woman said, that women are less likely, in fact, to negotiate. Why is that?
Well, I mean, some of it comes down to just basic social conditioning. When women are expected to be helpers and to be a little bit more accommodating, to also devalue the work that they do, to be self-effacing. And that's going to really hurt them when it comes to negotiating, because if you're not willing to actually put your achievements in the context of that being essential to your value, it's going to leave you at a disadvantage when it comes to actually getting the money that you're worth.
So how then to undo this? And look, this is a question all the isms can really be on the table and wonder, are we talking, is it a generational thing? I mean, how many more generations will have to come where we see a number inch closer to even here before this can actually be undone? One of the things I know you point out, the glass ceiling effect. Do more women have to be in those highest offices?
Well, I think that really it comes down to being a multi-pronged approach, and you can't look at it and say that it's only going to be solved by people who are working for social justice, or only solved by legislation, or only solved for corporate America. We need to see employers who are willing to not just be transparent about salaries, to be less likely to ask about salary history, which is something that states are now moving into to ban that practice because it puts women at a disadvantage. Changing parental leave policies so that it's more incentive for men and fathers to actually be involved in childcare so that women aren't bearing the full brunt of that.
Which I know is something else, a verifiable issue within all of this. The mother penalty, and it seems as much as you can legislate that out of existence, the facts here remain.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's where you look at it as a societal thing that I think can be fought with transparency. I mean, the fact that mothers face a 4% salary hit when they become parents, and men end up getting a 6% bonus or gain when they become fathers, it's seen as a status symbol, but they also get to the benefit of having someone that's expected to be doing the majority of the childcare work. So I think if we could increase childcare, make it more affordable, make it more available for people, it might make things easier, make it possible for people to be more flexible.
Is there hope then in what has been, by virtually any measure, a rancorous first couple of weeks of the Trump administration? It bears pointing out, specifically to this issue, that we've heard Ivanka Trump say that this is going to be her passion project. Gender, especially gender pay equality. Is there hope then for the near future?
I mean, I think there should be hope, and I think that it's worth at least taking her at face value when she says she wants to work on this issue and really push to make sure that when we're talking about family leave and parental leave, we're not just talking about mothers, that we're making sure that companies are providing paid leave for parents when they need to take it, that these conversations actually make the workplace more humane and not just set out a situation where a very small segment of the population is being affected by changes.
And I do want to point out, as frankly depressing and shocking as it might be to be discussing the fact that women earn 82 cents on the dollar to their male counterparts, drilling down into those numbers at all paints an even bleaker picture for so many. It's
so true. I mean, when you look at the racial disparities that exist within the gender pay gap, you're looking at massive inequality. Women of African American women face 66 cents on the dollar, and I believe Latino women are making 58 cents to a dollar for a white male. And that's the kind of thing that can add up to, in the case of Latinas, $1 million over the course of a 40-year career that they lose out on because they're not being paid what they're the same as men.
Unacceptable. Just patently unacceptable. Meredith Clark, thank you so very much for being here. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And you can see the full survey on glamour.com or in the March issue again on newsstands today.